felt like filming an April TBR. Hopefully this will not backfire on me and then make me intimidated. But I just wanted to tell you about the books that I am hoping on reading or reading at least part of in the month of April. And the first is with my Patreon group. We are going to be reading David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. This is the first Dickens that the group will be reading together. There are some mixed opinions on Dickens within the group. And I myself have mixed feelings about his books, depending on the book. But this is one that I loved and adored so very much. I'm really hoping that I'm in the mood for it when I start it. I'm just hoping that I will love it as much as I did the first time. I'm planning on listening to the Nicholas Bolton narration of this. I love his narration of David Copperfield. And I've listened to... Now it's escaping me. I've listened to one other. Oh, it was the Something Secret by Wilkie Collins. That's going to bug me a lot. So I've listened to one other by him, and he's just such a wonderful narrator. So I'm looking forward to kind of sinking into his narration of it. I was a little bit bummed because in the month of what was it now? I guess February, Art from the Bookish Odyssey podcast. He is hosting a very leisurely read-along of Great Expectations, and I thought, oh yes, a slow read-along. And as soon as Pip got to Save His House, I was like, this is not what I'm in the mood for. So I don't know if it was the wrong season, but I'm a little bit nervous because of that. So I'm really hoping. I want to be in the mood for this. I want to love David Copperfield all over again like I did the first time. And then I am hoping to read The Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I'm going to be starting on another epic fantasy journey, and I will be doing this with Kate from the novel Nomad and Doris from Aldi Books and my friend Jessica, and over on Bookstagram she is Jaja, admirer of words and coffee. And I am looking forward to starting a new epic fantasy series. I've been putting it off until I finished The Wheel of Time. So I had been waiting for years to try Robin Hobb. The time has come. I'm finally going to be trying her, and we'll see how it goes. I'm really hoping that I like it. And then the next book is For the Love of Mike. This is the third in the Molly Murphy mystery series by Rhys Bowen. We just did the discussion of the second one, which was The Death of Riley, and there were very mixed opinions on it. So I'm hoping that maybe the third one will be more universally loved. I really, really loved the second one. It's kind of exactly what I want in an amateur sleuth type series. We're going to see what book 3 is like, and I'm just really loving this time period of early 1900s in New York, and as she's taking real historical events and kind of weaving them into the plot, I find it fascinating. And then for my Kindred Spirits book club in the month of April, we are going to be discussing A Girl of the Limberlost by Jean Stratton Porter. Very excited and nervous to be revisiting this one, as I'm just nervous with any reread. Like, will I love it as much as I remember loving it? So yes, can't wait to continue on with this. I've actually already started it because I was so excited to get to it. So I'm hoping that I will have a kind of reading vloggy type video for you about this. We'll see how it goes. And then it's going to be the last month of a year in Mitford. And I'm feeling very, very emotional about that because I've been regularly reading the Mitford books now for over a year. And so then it's just going to be done all of a sudden. So the final book is called To Be Where You Are. And Jan Karon is going to wrap up all those loose ends, all of the people that we have come to know in our time in Mitford, and even some people when characters traveled outside of Mitford. So I'm thinking it's going to be wonderful. I'm going to feel bereft when it's done. And I'm up for the ride though, and excited to see kind of all of the things tied together at the very end. And then a couple books I have checked out from the library. This is like a hodgepodge, my pile of possibilities in this end. And also a lot of these are newer books, and a lot of newer books I just end up dropping, and I'm like, no, I don't feel like reading you. But one that I know I will feel like, and here's my big chunky bookmark, my like little devotional book I couldn't find a regular bookmark. So that's what I have here now. But I was finding the spot I was in. I accidentally returned this a few days ago at the library. And when I got home, I was like, no. This is the second in the Lady Darby mystery series. So I feel much more safe and secure now that I have it back in my hands. And these read like thrillers. These are set in the Regency era, but they are in Scotland and are just such page turners. So I'm really looking forward to continuing on with this. And then I have some leftovers from March Mystery Madness and Middle Grade March, and I'm excited. I had enough variety in my reading that I am looking forward to just reading a bunch more mysteries and middle grade. And I have 2 Agatha Christie I was wanting to get to, and the first is Endless Night. This is a standalone, and I've just heard it's like very atmospheric and really, really good. So I would love to read this one. And then the next Poirot I have, because I skipped the short story collections, is Sad Cypress. And I remember loving the TV episode of this. So we'll see what I think of what happens in the book. Yes, it involves a love triangle and some Mary is gruesomely poisoned by morphine, and suspicions naturally fall upon Eleanor, who is the other woman. And it just was a really interesting episode. And then Erin Entrada Kelly, who is a middle grade author who wrote Maybe Marisol Rainey, has a new one out that came out in March. Those kids from Fawn Creek, and it's about a group of friends, and so friendship slice of life type story. And I thought maybe Marisol Rainey was it was so-so. It was fine, it was decent, but it was nothing to write home about. But I wanted to see kind of what those kids from Fawn Creek was about and see if it might hook me in. Another mystery I had meant to read this month was The Unexpected Inheritance of Inspector Chopra. This is set in India, and I know it involves a baby elephant. And I think there's not that many out in this series so far. It is, I think maybe 5 or 6 are out, and I think it's early 1900s in India, but I could be wrong. And I know that he is just recently retired, and this case ends up pulling him in. That sounds fascinating. And when I was at a used bookstore with my friend Morgan earlier in the month, I was very, very tempted to use up one of my book purchases on Mistress Masham's Repose, which is a children's classic. Then when I realized the library had it, I thought, you know what? I'm not for sure that I would love it. Why don't I see what the library has? Or why don't I, read it from the library and see what I think? And I think it's just a 10-year-old Maria, and she is an orphan, and she finds these little people. And there they are down there. So I have no idea really what to expect. I know the language was really beautiful as I was reading it. And when was this written? Let's see. 1946. And it's by T.H. White. I always forget that. And the art is beautiful. So we will see what I think of this. And I was really excited the library had it, so I can try it that way. And then a proper romance that sounds so much fun is My Fine Fellow, A Delicious Entanglement. I don't know how you would say the author's, maybe Jennieke Cohen. And it is a retelling of My Fair Lady. They are chefs, and they are but it's gender bent. So the guy is the one who needs the polishing up and becoming refined. And it sounds so fun. So we will see what I think of this. And then this mystery has recently been republished. It is the Wintringham Mystery by Anthony Berkeley. And it is your kind of quintessential country house party mystery. And I am very intrigued that it was republished. And this cover was also very intriguing. So looking forward to diving into that. And then I loved, a few years ago, the group read for Middle Grade March was The Girl Who Drank the Moon, and by Kelly Barnhill. And then I saw this month, she has come out with a new book called The Ogress and the Orphans. And it had, excuse me, and there is a little town, and this child goes missing, and they all think that the that the ogre has done it. Stone in the Glen was once a lovely town. It has fallen on hard times. And the mayor is a famous dragon slayer. And then the mayor suggests that the Ogress nearby has taken him. And then even the first, well, one, it has a map, which I love. And then the first sentence was very intriguing, where it says, "Listen, this is the story about an ogress. She is not who you might think she is. The ogress lived in a crooked house at the far edge of town. She enjoyed baking and gardening and counting the stars. Like all ogres, the ogress was quite tall. Even sizable adults would have to crane their necks and squint a bit to say hello." And just her whimsical writing, immediately I was like, okay, I'm so excited about this book. And then lastly, or two things, I have started a big chunky book. Petra from Petra U had me really intrigued about Victoria the Queen by Julia Baird. I've been meaning to read this for a couple years. I'm also doing the audiobook, but this book is filled with pictures. So I wanted the physical copy also from the library. And then lastly, some frivolity. Spider-Man Loves Mary Jane, volumes 1 and 2. I have really been enjoying graphic novels, comics, all sorts of things lately, and these were at the library, so I snapped them up. I am not huge on superhero comics, but for some reason, Spider-Man, I think because there's a lot happening in his personal life, I always enjoy Spider-Man, and I loved the sound of these two. So yes, let me know your reading hopes and dreams for the month of April. I'm not going to get to all of these, but I have all these beautiful books checked out from the library, so I would like to get through at least some of them. And I will be back with another video soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.